Hey, everybody, and welcome to another night of Women's World of Fishing Monday Night Takeover. And we are live here with me and Angie, and we're having a little bit of connection issues, pretty much with all three of us. So please bear with us. Everything is working okay now. So we're just going to go with it. Just please be patient. But
Fingers.
just in case. Yeah, I know, right? Just in case, really, really quick, if you have not seen the video that I did a couple of days ago regarding the streaming for the channel, please go check that out. It is super, super important information that's going to take effect here in the next week or so. So please check that out. I just didn't want to take time away from tonight's show. So check that out. And for Angie, a huge congratulations because yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of your podcast. And what episode was it? Number
Uh,
tomorrow.
222 drops tomorrow. Yep. So it's been
Wow.
quite
How you
quite the
feeling?
journey. I can't believe it's been 4 years. People ask, "Oh, how long have you been doing the podcast?" It still seems like two. That seems like that's always my answer. And then when I looked, I'm like, "Holy cow! It's actually been 4 years. Time just flies. It's crazy."
It, I, I mean, we haven't been on yet a year, but it sure has gone quick. So I can
Yeah.
imagine your 4 probably went pretty quick. But
Yep.
you've had an amazing journey, with your podcast, and it's just going to keep getting better from here.
Yeah. I mean, the opportunity is.
You're cutting in and out.
Let me try going without my camera here. Let me
Okay.
see, but any better?
Um,
No.
the last thing we heard was opportunities. So try and go from there. And if it's not any better, then
Yeah,
I'm going to try.
yeah. I was just saying, the opportunities that have come show and the pod and the people I've gotten to meet through it, what anything is what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Through the tournaments that you've fished, the sponsors you've gained, the fishing trips that you've taken, I mean, you've definitely navigated through the industry super duper well. And I mean, actually transitioning right into that, you just went to Florida and were with a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people. How was that?
It was amazing. I had a great opportunity to participate in a women's fishing retreat with Academy Sports, and they have a new women's line out by Magellan. They're Magellan Outdoors. They have a whole pro series, and the cool thing about this is it was designed by women, and so we got to go to the store, see all the products in this line, and the designer actually walked us through all the thought that went into each of the items, and it's just really cool to see. And then we got to go out fishing for a couple days and actually wear the gear and kind of see how it all
Nice.
works and fits, and it was very impressive. And the price point is, I mean, totally entry level but high quality stuff. And so um, that was really
Nice.
exciting to see. So I'm gonna have her on the podcast at some point to kind of feature some of that stuff. And but
Awesome.
yeah, we got to fish for redfish, and we were hoping to go offshore, but unfortunately that day the waves were a bit too much for the bay boat that we were going to be in, so we had to inshore fish again, but it was still an absolutely amazing experience. I didn't know anybody except for one of the ladies, so it was great to meet like a whole brand new crew of people, and some of the ladies had never fished before, so that was really cool too.
That's awesome. And I mean, hopefully you brought up to the designer some of the issues that we've talked about in the past and what many people have brought up to us on the show as far as like, you know, how difficult it is on the boat sometimes, especially in the winter or in the rain to come out from all of your warm gear as far as having to go to the bathroom because I know that's a huge frustration for all of us, you know.
Yeah, and then what's cool about them too is they're totally open to any and all feedback and suggestions, and
Nice.
and receptive to making changes or improvements to see what they can do next. So that was really cool to see too.
Nice, nice. Well, good deal. We're, glad that we have somebody, that we know in the corner and in house to make those suggestions because that's huge to have of like female influencers in the industry and actually making those decisions and those products because no offense to the men, but we've been lagging behind in the designing for the women and the clothing, for a long time. So
Yep.
it'll be exciting and we'll you know, I'm gonna look at the items I definitely want to see, and hopefully, um, when your podcast comes out, we'll post it up, the link and everything, and make sure we get it out to as many people as possible. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, tonight we have Tiffany Hart on the show, and she is an MLF pro. And I can't remember. I think she's been fishing the MLF for a couple of years, and she's fished with the LBAA in the past. She's not fishing with them this year. She's just doing the one tour. So we'll go ahead and bring her on. Angie, are you going to keep your camera off just to make sure that it doesn't get real um like
Yeah, I think
staticky?
yeah, I think that'll be easier than having to deal with it maybe cutting in and out. So
Oh,
I don't know
okay,
what's
just
going on tonight, but
okay. It's probably still ice and everything. Who knows?
yeah,
So,
could be.
okay, if you see anything that that needs to be passed along as far as the comments, just let me know.
Okay,
So,
we'll do.
okay. I'm going to bring you on. You good, Tiffany? Okay. Okay, welcome to the show, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're good. We're hanging
Good,
in there.
good,
Um,
good.
I wanted to start off because, like, as far as you just getting back from Toledo Bend, because it's kind of what we were just talking about. And this happened in tournaments in a huge part of the country from Texas all the way to the Carolinas, as far as the
Mm-hmm.
ice and the snow. And
Correct. We
everybody
got
fished in it. You all fished in this snow and ice and stuff on Toledo Bend.
we did. We did. It was, I was there. I paid my money. I had a co-angler. If I had not chose to fish, the co-angler wouldn't have the opportunity to fish. So that would have knocked him off, for his points. He was ninth in points. I for sure wasn't gonna,
Right.
dip out and it was supposed to be nice later on Saturday afternoon. And it was. I mean, the wind was supposed to be low, like 3 to 4, and it was like 7 to 10. So I mean, you had to have something, right?
Right.
And then I'm not very familiar with Toledo Bend because last year we got canceled due to the last year's storms, and so I'm not a fan of Toledo Bend because all they have is boat lanes, and one wrong move and you're taking out your lower unit. But look, we do what we gotta do, right? And then
Right.
and then we
And
and then we learn.
well, and for a lot of people, like if you don't competitive fish or, anything like that, when you sign up and it's a boater and a non-boater, or pro and a co, you both have to be in the boat. So
Right.
if something happens and a boater gets really sick, has a family emergency, whatever the situation, and that boat's gone, the co-angler,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter where you drove from, um you're stuck. Like, you don't have a boat
Correct.
to go out on. And so, so that's amazing that no matter what the conditions are, that you were like, you know what, I have to go. Because a lot of times people will assume that, like, oh, the woman probably won't show up. you know,
Surprise.
but we're a lot tougher than people give us credit for. So,
Oh,
um,
100%.
so I I was baffled. The only tournament that I officially saw that was canceled was day number 2 on, was it Sam Rayburn? I think.
Sam was having a tournament, yeah, and it was like some big $100,000
Yeah,
tournament. Yeah, and they got
Brandon Belt.
postponed. They got postponed until I think Sunday they picked up.
Yeah,
Or
but it was supposed to be a
one or the
3-day
other.
tournament,
Right.
and
Correct.
they had to push it down to 2. But it's like Sam Rayburn for ice, and there was a Lake Fork tournament that it was a kayak tournament, one of the national kayak tournaments that I don't think they got delayed or canceled or anything. And I saw social media posts for them where the kayak anglers, I mean, they had like ice all over their kayaks, beating it off of them before they launched. Um, yeah, kudos to you guys for getting out there and all that stuff. I was iced in the house, so
Ugh.
yeah, I was nice and warm, and you know, but you guys also get to fish a lot sooner than I do too, and have fun and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, here where I am is either further south than Toledo Bend. So my home, typically on a normal year in Texas, we don't have this wacky weather. But 2 years in a row, we've had, the ice, the snow, we have a little carport cover over one of our vehicles, and my husband pushed off a 3 or 4 inch sheet of ice off the carport. We
Wow.
don't we don't typically have that kind
Right.
of weather. It's usually, we'll have our 30s and 40s and then usually 50s, and it's not typically this bad, but really the last 2 years it's just been crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't usually get 2 inches of sleet, like
Right.
we didn't get the snow. We got just pure sleet. It was ridiculous. But then we got to where it was 0 degrees outside, and it's just been miserable. So whatever. I'm content being inside right now. I got my fishing poles behind me, getting ready to reline them. I'm good. But
Yeah, it takes a hot minute to get everything going, but once I get everything organized and then in my boat's clean, I'm ready to go.
yeah.
If
What was the water temperature on Toledo Bend like that day?
um early in the morning it was like 49.7. And then
Oh,
because it
okay,
had been
fine.
nice. Yeah, it had been
Yeah.
so nice before. And then we had that 2 days of freezing ice and crazy snow, whatever that was. And I was in Manny, Louisiana. I was staying in Manny for the tournament. And, I'm sitting on the couch and Julia said, "Oh my god, look, it's snowing." And I looked over and it was so white out. You couldn't see anything. She lives on Toledo Bend.
Wow. And the
It was
bass are
crazy.
probably like,
They're like, "Negative, see ya, lockjaw, chunks of deuces, I'm out of here." This ain't
did
my
you get
weather.
a did you get a bite at all?
I caught one 12 3/4 fish, and you have to have 14 now.
Right.
So, but my William Young, he's a 30-year-old guy from Livingston. He was my He was so fun to be on the boat with. He's such a
Oh,
good personality. I love this MLF. These guys, for the most part, these guys don't care that what sex
good.
we are, but they but this guy got on a boat, and man, we were just slumping all morning, slump. And then we finally hit uh a dock, and I said, well, let's fish the dock. And he kept throwing, getting a bite, but he couldn't connect. I was like, man, they're just so freaking lethargic is what I'm thinking. They don't care.
Right.
And then finally, after a couple of hours, he finally hooked into one, and I couldn't get nothing else to bite to save my soul. And he ended up catching, for real, like he ended up catching a 513, and I know, for a he ended up in 19th place out of 134 coes. So
Wow.
he did, I mean, one fish, 5 pounds, put him in 19th in the top 20.
Nice.
So it wouldn't have taken much, but I just didn't have it, man. I zeroed it, and I hate it. And Sam, our first tournament, it was 4 fish, 813, which wasn't great. And then that was out of 230 boats, but I was 92 out of 230 boats. So it
That's
doesn't take a
awesome.
whole lot. Yeah. So, it's just, you got to
Well,
find
and
them.
right. I think that's the I think that's the majority of the battle, you know. So much for, bass being the most predictable fish on the planet,
Yeah, no,
you
I don't
know.
think so.
Right. Well, how did you get into fishing? I mean, I know, but tell everybody else because it's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, I was 17 when I really started fishing, but I catfished. It was easy, you go out, you throw whatever out there, and you catch a catfish. But my husband took me like 4 years ago, and took me to a little private lake. He's a mechanic, and he worked out a deal with a rancher to let us fish on his pond, and my husband would take care of his generator. And we went out there, and I caught my first big bass, and I was like, "Oh, stuck." That was it. That's all it took. My husband had me hooked. So he had me out there, and I didn't want to stop. And then finally, I was like, "Let's go fishing. Let's go fishing." He was like, I have to work. I can't. I'm
Slow
tired."
down.
Yeah. And so finally, I did an event at Lake Conroe because I work with Texas Parks and Wildlife. And I did an event with them, and the LBAA ladies were there to help with the event with Albert Talafus. And so they came up to me, and they're, "Hey, why don't y'all come fishing with us? Just this is the information. Come check it out." Da 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 da. And that was it. I went one time as a and that was the weekend Wendy Lou lost her boat to the crazy weather on Sam Ray, or no, we were at Toledo Bend, I think. I
Oh,
missed the
I never
first.
even heard that story.
Oh yeah, Wendy Lou was out, and the waves were terrible, the wind was awful. And that was 2019, and that was the first year I fished as first year as a and then the first tournament, Wendy Lou lost her boat. That knocked me out because I was the last one to sign up. So
Oh,
that knocked me out. And then Sherry Demuth said, "Hey, I'll give you one of my days just so you could fish. You traveled all the way over here, yada yada."
aw.
It was just a big connection. And I just talked to Sherry the other day, and she kind of had to quit fishing for personal reasons, but like we connected. It was a big connection, and I loved it. And so once I got knocked off and could only fish the one day, even though I paid for two. Of course, they reimburse you for your second day. But I came home and I told my husband, I was like, I don't want to be a co. I want to be a boater.
Mhm.
And so we went and found a boat. So the third tournament, or the second one for me, third for them
Right.
for that year.
And I think that's awesome that your husband was so, you know, supportive and encouraging, and I also think it's amazing. I mean, you said only 4 years ago that you got into bass fishing and now you're fishing as a pro on the MLF tour.
I
You know,
am. It's
uh,
so fun. It's more than I could have asked for sure.
I, I mean, that is super inspiring to me because, and for so many reasons. I mean, so many reasons, not just about the confidence with your fishing skills, but there, like, we hear so many reasons as to what stops women from, you know, fishing tournaments and, all kinds of things, because a lot of times women are insecure by nature. I mean, let's just
Right.
be honest. Women are insecure by nature. Like, we look for anything to be insecure about. And
Mm-hmm.
so it, it's it's amazing that you made that jump in 4 years, especially to like fishing one with 300 boats. Like teach a course.
Look, the guys don't say nothing, but when you get that look,
It-
you
and
get a
it's
look, but they keep their mouth shut. They don't say anything. So I get
well,
it.
and
I get it.
like, and what's weird is like women are fierce, like I, when it comes to competing, like we've got it. Nobody can say that women aren't competitive. I
No, they can't say that.
right, like we know what it's like to compete, and we have the grit, the determination, the work ethic, the like we have all of the ingredients. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But it's all the other little things that we keep, like in this little spot in us that we don't tell anybody else about. That stops us
Yeah.
from doing other things.
Right.
And like, so how do I want to say this? So what's different about you? And I mean that in the most positive way. Like, what has been, like, how did you do that? Like, mentally, honestly.
Well, because I don't care what anybody thinks, to be honest with you. If you
That's
if
awesome.
you either scoot over, or I had a quote on my phone the other day. It was some kind of gameplay, and you put in your birth date or whatever, and it tells you what you are or whatever, your personality traits, and it says you're either beside me, you're in front of me, you're next to me, or you're behind me, or you're in my way. So make your decision where you want to be,
Right.
because I don't care. And it was like, oh my God, that's epiphany. Holy cow. But I don't care if the guys are mad because I'm there. I don't care if the ladies are mad because I'm there. I don't care. I just want
Right.
to go out there and fish, and it's fun. This tournament, you roll in, you do boat check, you take your number, you go fish, you come in, you weigh, and you go home. That's it. There's nothing else to it. We're either fishing or you're not. They don't care either. And I like that. I like that. I don't like last year, of course, obviously, because it was so horrible last year in February that they canceled it, and I certainly did not have a problem with that. nor did half the field. But but I'm just that person that we're either gonna fish or we're not, and you're either gonna like me or you're not. If I'm in your way, I'm so sorry, but I fish
So
too.
it is just like just tunnel vision, all about the fishing,
Yep.
nothing else. Nothing else matters. It's all about you and the fish, and that's it.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
could just imagine when we
Yeah.
get our pairings, over the phone. So I could just imagine when the guy looks and he goes, "Oh my God, I got that female chick." Roll eyes.
Oh, you know that they're like, okay, let me go to her social media. That's what everybody's doing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
for sure. I always
So
look up my code too to see where they're ranked. Kind of get a game plan together because we always talk to each other the night before. We get our pairings with a phone number and what flight we're in, and it's usually 230 boats. Of course, this last one was 134. But and so we make a game plan. Hey, I fish shallow, I fish deep. This is what I do. This is what you do. I said, okay, I'll plant us between the shallow and a little bit deeper, and that way you can fish here, I'll fish there, or whatever. And we do it. And you either catch fish or you don't. I mean,
now,
that's just the
do
way it
you
is.
think that the male pros do that? Like if their fishing technique is different than the co's, do you think that they compromise, or do you think they're like, go get your own damn boat?
Right.
Or
Well, no, I think that some because as I'm sitting there, there's a boat that comes up next to me, and we're waiting. We've already done boat check, and now we're sitting and waiting to be called out, right?
Mhm.
So we're sitting, and he keeps bumping into my boat, and I'm like, "Get off my boat!" He's sitting there waving his hand at me like it's no big deal. I'm like, "Get off my boat! Get off my boat!"
Right.
you know. But some people just don't care. Some people
Yeah.
don't care. Um, but most people, 99.9% of the guys out there are very accommodating, very polite. They're very respectful that ladies are there, even though there's only a few of us. But you have a few lady co's too.
Yeah.
So, um,
Is the MLF what you expected it to be, or is it different?
I really expected it to be arrogance, and it's really not. I
Hmm.
expected for them to really snub the female boater, much less the female co.
Good.
And
And so it's
and
much better then.
oh yeah, oh it's 100% better than what I envisioned in my head. When we all go out there,
Right.
and I just want to be treated equally. You don't
Mhm.
have to like me. You don't have to accommodate me. I just want to fish too. That's
Right.
it. Uh, it's all good.
Hey,
And I
ladies, we've
So
had some comments coming in here, so I just want
okay.
to give a shout out to some of the people that are watching us right now. But we just had Stephen Peller in. He was asking you, Tiffany, are you fishing the MLF Toyota Series this week on Big Sam?
no, I don't fish Toyota Series yet.
Okay.
Yet. I'll work my way up there. But Stephanie's husband, Steve Pellerin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yep.
not fishing it yet, but I might get some bravery and go one day. That's serious. That's serious money, that's serious boats, that's serious. I mean, not that MLF isn't serious. That's just a step up. So I'm not there yet. And
I
then I
don't think
see
you're
D.
see who?
Oh, small town fishing is a good friend of mine. D. He's a co for MLF, and he's a go getter too. I mean, he's total respect for the guy. He has total respect for the girls that fish. He
Good.
introduced me to a friend of his, Tiffany Lil. She's a co, and I just met her last weekend, and she's awesome. She's another female. She co, and she's amazing. She's a go-getter too. So I got D. Okay, David DePaolo. So proud of your success. Oh, thank you. You're killing it. Thank you.
I just saw the comments too. That's right, Steven. Go Cincinnati.
Oh, y'all with them Bengals.
Oh, come on. You must be from the Chiefs. Whatever. We tried to give it to you. Give it to you guys the first half. We were basically like, here you go. We were playing powder puff the first half. Just saying.
We gave that game away. It was terrible.
We
We
tried
gave
to
it away.
we tried to give
Y'all
it to you the first half, and you
fair
guys
and
gave it
square.
back the second half.
Fair and square.
I
I
mean,
don't
it really
don't
was.
deny.
This is just real quick. This is the God's honest truth. I sent my mom a text and I was like, "Are we playing powder puff?" Because the Bengals would not touch anybody the first half. We were playing so safe. And
Because
yeah,
those refs were cutting those freaking, they were calling those.
it was either like letting big stuff go or calling little stuff. And anyway. Go Bengals. We needed
Okay.
it. Come on.
Go Bengals,
Seriously.
go. Yeah, y'all
We
haven't been there for 33 years. You can have it.
right. And that's serious. That's the truth. Like our town has been celebrating like we've never had anything in our life.
That's great. I mean, hey, I don't deny it. Y'all played good. I don't take
We love Joe Burrow. Anyway, we had to suck for like 20 years in a row to get him in the first draft pick, but
33, but that's okay.
what? Well, that's true. Anyway, so back to fishing. Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because this is always a curiosity for me, is someone's favorite and least favorite technique. Like your go-to, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
If you would have asked me last year, I would have said Texas rig plastics all day, every day.
Okay.
Then I got hooked up with a really good co. He put me on 14 pounds of fish last year in January on Sam Rayburn. And I've been a crankbait person ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
So just like boom.
Switched me because he taught me his name is Greg Boyk, and he's a very high ranking co-angler, and he taught me the water temperature, the water clarity, where the grass was, so you want to throw this. Then he taught me, if the water temperature is this and they're going to kind of move out, and then you want to move in and then position yourself here. And he taught me in one trip so much.
Wow.
It flipped me from Texas rig worm to a crankbait. And I've been catching fish on crankbaits ever since.
Year round.
Yeah. I'll fish it year round, no problem. Because if I'm
Nice.
not getting something on a jig or I mean, I used to only fish plastics, and when I wasn't catching fish, I was like, God, man, I gotta learn these tricks and tips. And so I started watching Bass Geek Hank on YouTube, and I learned a lot from him. I started getting the mystery tackle box and getting all different kinds of baits, and I'd take them out and I'd use them, and I would try to see what was working, what wasn't. But the problem is my lake versus your lake, versus a lake even a few towns over is totally different here. Lake
Yeah.
Conroe
I'll
is a
take you fishing,
green,
Tiffany.
yeah, Lake Conroe, which is only 2 hours south of me, and it used to be my home lake. So since I moved, But Lake Conroe has always been consistent. Green, kind of mucky, sometimes clear, barely clear. And then, you could catch them on jigs all day long. But then you come up here to Lake Limestone, where I'm 30 minutes away from Lake Limestone. It's the same color, but you have the fish are totally different. We have more rock here. We have, and I'm going to assume that's why they stay up shallow longer because the rock stays warmer. We have hellfire summers,
Right.
So, I think the water temperature stays warmer here longer, obviously, but
Right.
it's just a learning curve. And then we go someplace like Tennessee where it's clear and it's totally, the Smoky Mountains all day. It's just a whole different.
Yep.
You have to change it up so much. It's ridiculous.
Well, and I like it because I'm like you. I mean, I love throwing plastics, but
Yeah.
but I got to the point where I was tired of getting my just butt kicked on a jig. Like I'm just tired of it. It seems like every time I absolutely get my butt kicked, it's on a jig. And so I kind of have this like commitment to myself
Hey,
to
can I
start.
tell y'all? If y'all want some good jigs, you see this blue line bait, David DePalo right here? He hooks me up, and I'm telling you, this man on blue line baits right here,
Yeah,
this man can
this
make
one.
you some jigs.
Okay, that's who I have up right now.
Yeah, David
And
DePalo right here in the chat. That man, you tell him what size, what kind of head you want, what kind of skirt you want, what color, and he will hook you up. I'm telling you, he makes me the best jigs. You can't buy these in the store. They're
okay.
perfect.
And this was not like planned out. I didn't know that he was the
No.
one that had blue line baits
Yes.
or anything. But like, and
Yeah.
I've said it in multiple shows, like I hate fishing a jig. I just don't fish them because I we have a lot of wood and just all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
They get hung up. I get tired of
Mhm.
fetching them. And I'm like, you know what? If they ain't going to take my Creature Texas rig, they ain't going to take no stupid jig, but I'm hard headed and I get my butt kicked on a jig. So,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So I have a commitment to myself to start learning where to draw the line on when they'll take a jig and when when they'll take a plastic and then when they'll take only a jig and not the plastic and start learning that cutoff because those are the things you have to learn in fishing because there are going to be plenty of days when they'll take a creature bait and not a jig or they'll take a jig and not a creature bait.
Yeah.
But you know like with me, like I love throwing plastics. That's my go-to.
Yeah. Same.
But uh, the moving baits, there are days when they will not touch anything sitting there.
Right.
You literally you have to bounce something off of something and get a reaction strike where they just turn
You
around
really
and
have
hit.
to hit them in the head.
Right. They turn around and they have it in their mouth before they know what they did. And
Mhm.
so I've started to really like crankbaits and stuff a lot too. So I totally get where you're coming from with that, you know. But what do you think about the real finesse styles? Do you ever go,
I just recently started using a trick worm.
okay,
Just recently. I don't do big swim baits. I don't do
in
the,
Texas you don't?
I mean, I should, but that I'm just focused now. I'm on crankbaits. So, it's plastic. Now I'm crankbait, and I've always played with jigs, but I'm kind of learning one bait at a time as we're going through these different lakes and different situations, different weather, and I'm trying to figure out what I want a bait. Y'all tell me. I want a bait that if you throw it in the winter, in the summer, when it's hot, when it's cold, when it's raining, when it's cloudy, when it's sunny, I want a bait that will attract something all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't I would prefer a 5 pounder, but I would like, I want to learn each bait kind of as the
Right.
season goes out, winds down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, plastic. I still throw plastics. I was throwing plastics in Toledo Bend, and I knew dang good and well they weren't eating it, but I kept throwing it.
Because I mean, y- y- you could get
That's
one
my
here,
confidence.
right? And I mean, theoretically, on any day, any place, any time, with a plastic bait in front of a fish, he's liable to take that at any
Sure,
point. You don't know unless it's in front of the fish and you have him in the boat. But if it's not there, you're not going to know. You know what I
exactly.
mean? And like the I, I don't know with people in Texas. Like I just imagine in Texas, like you guys out there, like I never envision you guys out there with like little teeny tiny drop shot worms, like in Kentucky, if you in the summer, if you're not downsizing, and getting really finesseful in the hot summer months, you're probably getting close to skunked. I mean, like I was throwing last summer like a trout worm, 3 inches, a 3 inch,
Really.
a 3 inch steelhead trout worm. It caught my second biggest fish of the year in July.
And sometimes those big ones don't. I was catching last year. No, yeah, last year for tournament season. It was still warm here, but it was like November, end of November. We just got back from Tennessee. I went out on Lake Limestone and threw a jig, and I was catching them all day, every day, like it was summertime, 3 and 4 pounders. And that was in November.
I
So
can't even imagine a day like that.
for
Like,
sure. I had posted pictures. I felt like I'm in. The guy told me get away from his dock, and I was like, okay. So I went to his. He had two. I went to his other dock while he had his back turned. And I caught a 3 pounder. I was like, I'm staying away from you. You don't own the water, buddy.
right.
I'm not staying away from this dock. It's the best one on the lake.
Wow. Yeah, those days I pray to have a day like that at some point in my life.
And so I never fished. Let's see. I fished Tennessee. We did go to Kentucky, I think, didn't we? With the
How about
LBAA.
Kentucky Lake?
Oh yeah, but I didn't go on that one. I think that's the
Yeah.
one I missed
Yeah, they've only fished in
once, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Steven says got to use it all in Texas, even Ned rigs.
Yeah, and see, I don't Ned rig. Everything I get, like if I get something in a box or whatever, the mystery tackle box, um, I don't Ned rig, so I give those to Julia. I'm like, here,
Really?
you do all that. I don't do all that.
I mean, I'll throw drop shot, Ned rig, Nico rig, Carolina rig. I mean, I'll throw any kind of rig. Like I'll make up one. I don't care. Yeah, like
Eh, Well, she's pretty smart. Like she'll go, well, maybe I'll do, make up this thing, and whatever. She'll catch a fish on it.
yeah,
She's that person. She'll throw that whatever out there, even if she
yeah.
made it up.
I, I mean, I fished last year. I didn't fish hardly any tournaments, which was very atypical for me, but that's nonetheless. So I fished ponds all year. And I
Hmm.
actually am going to have an article coming out in the LBAA digital magazine.
Hmm.
And I forget what I named it. I think it's called From Boat to Bank. or something like that.
Mm.
But it's about like, me fishing from the bank basically for a year and fishing ponds that are in like very like public parks and ponds that are small, that are super duper pressured. And how I learned more last year fishing those super duper pressured ponds
Right.
in 1 year than I probably have fishing out of a boat the past 3 years. Like literally, I learned so much last year because I was so limited as to how many decisions I could make. I couldn't pull
Right.
up that trolling motor and fire up the motor and go 15 miles, and fish
Right.
that ramp or fish that wall or fish that point. I knew there was fish, you know, in this area, and it really, and it just changed my whole perspective on decision making, and like I learned a lot from that. But man, making those decisions when you're on the water, it's tough. And it's not always just about like, oh, I've got the right bait. You might have the right bait, but
You may
are
not
you
have the right color though.
right?
You may
And even
you
if
may
you
not have the
do,
right action.
right? But even if you do, what if you're not around the right fish, or you're not there in a window, or you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
and it, sometimes I really believe like when it's your time, it's your time.
Right. I don't like people were talking about graphs the other day and having all this, uber super hu- inhuman, electronics on their boat. And I don't even use my graphs. The only time I use my graphs is to map my way through a lake. That's it. I don't use it to find anything because here's the thing. What looks like a brush pile, my graphs looks like a brush pile down there stacked with fish was probably a tree that was thrown down there with some leaves on it. I mean,
Right.
I can't depend on my graphs to tell me, how far the fish are up and down and sideways and if they're stacked, if they're spread out. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
can't go by that. I think that I find bait, I look for bait. That's one of the things, and I try to chunk it in the bait. If
Right.
an A rig, I threw an A rig, probably 3 hours on
Nice.
the on this Toledo Bend tournament, and nothing touched it.
Wow. See,
So
I mean, I know that electronics are huge and they're becoming such a
mhm,
huge thing with the live scope and,
right,
almost to like the video game status,
yeah,
like there's
yeah,
my oh, 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 he's got it.
yeah,
Like to that point, that's where the fishing has come. And and that's great. The people, I mean, it if I could afford it, would I have one? Well, yeah, why wouldn't
of
I
course,
yeah, I'll run with the big dogs and I'll get one. I probably won't be able to use it, I won't know how, but you know what I
right,
mean. But I'll have it up there to say I got it. But there are so many other factors that are involved in addition to that.
sure,
And like I remember, oh goodness, I don't, it was, I'm wanting to say that it was in Texas last year, when we fished Ray Hubbard. And I can't remember what co-angler it was, but it was after day one when she was up on stage. She said, um, oh gosh, I wish I could remember what two anglers it was because it was so funny. She ended up hooking a fish. Her reel ended up breaking, and I think that she said that like it may have like shown its guts, like it actually broke, and she ended up having to hand line it in. It was over 5 pounds.
oh
And
my god,
for the co-anglers, we're only allowed 3 fish, which I think is an amazing, amazing thing for co-anglers, because you know what I mean? Because with that, it makes the competition a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not on fish, if you're not on fish on day one, you're not out of it. We have multiple times co-anglers
Sure.
win it that didn't get any on day one.
Mm-hmm.
So she had one over 5 pounds. So for a
Ooh.
co-angler, that's huge. She ends up hand lining it, and the boater's like, freaking out, going to get the net, and she's struggling, and it was just like this huge, like chaotic thing. And she ends up getting it in the net.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so she gets this fish, and it's like, okay, we've all had scenarios where we've done everything right. The drag has been perfect. The hook set's been perfect. We get it in by the boat. And I mean, everything goes perfect. And then she's just gone, you know?
Yep.
So,
It's a heart wrenching feeling.
right. So with her, I'm just like, it doesn't matter what any of us co anglers do from this point. There ain't nothing that we can do to beat her at this point. This is her tournament. When you catch a fish like that in a tournament,
Yeah.
it is your time.
Game over.
Yep, we're all fishing for second place, because that's the good Lord telling you, you know what, it is your time. And yeah, nobody caught her.
I just wanted to mention that, just because I'm a boater and we have all these rules, you can't cast in front of the steering wheel. You can only do this, you can only do that. Um, I think it stinks. I think it stinks. I hate limiting my co-angler. He's not my competition. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? My co-angler is not my competition. So why can't the guy or lady throw, if I'm over here to the left, why can't they throw to the right? Who cares? So as long as the boater says, hey, it's cool, you can fish wherever you want, just don't cross me.
Mm-hmm.
You can bring as much as you want. Why would you limit that? I mean, I understand the clutter on the boat, the space, the room. I have the smallest boat out there, I promise you. That little 2003 Triton is like 6 foot wide. I tell my co, bring out anything you want. If it fits in the boat, it fits. If it doesn't, you can't take it. Bring all the rods you want. If it fits in the slot, you can strap them down. No big
Mm-hmm.
deal. Just cleat. I give him a net. I give me a net. So that way we each have our own net.
Right.
But I don't limit my co because he's not my competition.
Right.
I want to put him on fish as much as I want to be on fish. So,
And it's different. I don't know, like MLF rules, like if those are hard written rules. Like I did a video. I think it's on my personal YouTube page, but
uh-huh.
it's called something like how to get and keep a good reputation as a co-angler, and I kind of go over some of the do's and don'ts. And one of the things that I do, even if I've fished with the woman before,
Uh-huh.
is when we're sitting out there, I ask all of the questions I need to, because there are so many unwritten rules. Like they might be written in the MLF, but there's a lot of things like, um, you know, do you want me to help you with the net? Because I've had some women that are like, I'll get my own fish.
Right.
I had a woman from Texas that doesn't fish with the LBAA. She hasn't for like 7 years, but she was just like, I'm from Texas. We don't get the net out unless they're over 5 pounds. We just flip those 5 pounders right in the boat.
Nope. See,
Okay.
I'm not like that. I'm not like
Yeah,
that. I'm like,
well,
hey, if you want me to help you net, if I say net, then I want you to help me net. If I don't say net and I can just flip it in, you can tell, how big they are.
right. And
then obviously I'm going to help my co too, because I want him to do, or her to do, just as well.
right, and most people are like, "Heck yeah, I don't if I set the hook, get the net." Like, that's how I
Heck
am, I
yeah,
don't care, if we don't need the net, we
for
don't need
sure.
the net, but be ready with the net, and that's how
Yeah,
90% of the people are, but I'm gonna ask because,
for sure.
like, just in case, and, so there's, like, the casting because, some people don't want you to cast beyond that halfway zone, and some people are like, just don't cross me.
That's it.
As long as we're not tangling lines, I don't care. But it's definitely like a personal preference. And I can understand as a boater, like I have no problems if they want to cut that off in the middle. I get it. Like I don't get mad cuz you might cast over there, but you might be thinking of that stump that's right there that you're getting ready to turn around and like I respect that. I get it. It's a sport,
For
it's a
sure.
competition, and so that's why I ask all those questions just to be on the safe side. I don't want to be left on a stump out in the middle of, a
Yeah,
lake because I done messed up and no cell
yeah.
service.
Oh, for sure. But I wanted to bring it up because I know some people are so hardcore, and there's been 1,000 different, scenarios that we've heard through the years that, oh, this boater did this to me, or this co-angler
Oh,
did this to
sure.
me. And I was like, I was shocked at some of the stories that I hear,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
And so that's why I kind of made it like, I'm not gonna limit my co unless the co crosses the line, and I say,
Right.
don't cross me, or try not to cross me, or whatever. Then and then when if they keep repeating the same bad habit or whatever they do, then I'll say something, of course. But
Yeah.
I just feel like the co-angler should have just as much a chance,
Oh,
even though, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
don't
Absolutely.
backboat the poor person.
Absolutely. And that has like mildly happened to me one time, you know, and
One
it
time.
was, huh?
One time.
Yeah,
It was
like,
it was the last time, but it was one time I got
oh, did
backboated.
so that actually
Yeah.
happened to you? Oh, no wonder
Yeah.
you were like, I'm going as a boater, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I mean, I've been very, very lucky. And you know, if like for me, that's why I'm asking questions because I don't want to have that question after I've already screwed up. And so, like I want to know before I've gone into it. And, everybody is just so different,
I know. It's a
and
personality thing too, I think.
right. And like, because I think that if you once you've been a co-angler and then you're as a boater, I do think that you're different up there. Like you're, not to say that you should be, because some people aren't, some people get up there and they're like, I switched. Go get your own boat. Although
Right. Yeah.
I've heard that with the men, though not so much as the women.
Yep.
But
That's
it just
exactly it. But I just want to know if y'all get picked as my co, Steven Pellerin, if you ever get put on my boat. I think he's a boater, right? Steve, are you a boater? I don't know if he's still on here.
Stephen.
Pellerin.
Oh,
I know he fishes, but I don't know if he's a boater or not. But anyway, whoever gets put on my boat,
here, let
they're
me
gonna
go back.
have they're gonna have just as much, chance as anybody else that fishes. I just feel like it doesn't have to be I'm the boater, you're the co, and this is the
Right.
way it's gonna be on my boat. But a lot of people are
Oh,
like
I
that.
I totally get it. Hey, Steven, are you still on here? I'm not. No, Stephanie
Yeah, yes.
husband. No, Stephanie husband.
You're
Oh,
not Stephanie's husband?
no, that is so Stephanie's husband. I
I
know
was fixing to
it
say, what?
is. Yeah, it is. Angie
I
got
just talked to
booted.
you, sir.
Oh, hi, William. That's my little second cousin out in Utah. I love you, buddy. Hi, Michaela. I love you too.
Oh, he does fish co in BFL.
Hi, Richard.
Okay, so Steven, if you're ever on my boat, you can bring whatever you want, dude. Bring whatever you want. Okay. I think
Oh,
we had.
hi, Ashley. You're fishing at Co. Where are you fishing as a Co? So Ashley, I actually met her on TikTok, and
Oh,
yeah, TikTok is a whole other thing.
that's a whole
Love you,
entity,
buddy.
and is
It is a whole new world over there. But you know what though?
sorry. Gotta go.
I absolutely love it on TikTok now. I was not a fan in the beginning. Um, but
A
I
little risque
absolutely
for
love it
me.
now. You really should get on there. You really should.
I'm on
But
it. I'm on
oh, you
TikTok.
are?
Yeah, me and Julia
East
have made some.
East
Julia,
Tennessee Bassin Trail. It's a local type trail, but I got to start somewhere. Oh my gosh, girl, I am so happy for you. You know
I'm
what?
not seeing her comments. I want to see her comments.
You don't Ashley Higgins? You don't see that up
uh-uh.
there?
No, I just
Are
see William as the last one.
are you on the um the YouTube page, or are you up on the comments in the app?
I don't see the comments in the app. I'm looking at the YouTube page.
Oh, okay, gotcha. See, this is what is with the previous video that I did about the streaming.
Hmm.
When we condense it to just the YouTube, it's going to fix all of these comment things too.
Oh, I got you. I
But
got you.
Ashley, do me a favor and send me a private message on TikTok, because I want to make sure I'm able to find you again on TikTok, because I looked for you and I couldn't find you again. So we met on TikTok, and then she found us over here because I have a beacon page on
Hmm.
TikTok. And so then she found the show. And so now she's going to start as a co.
Oh, how fun with the LBAA.
She's fishing one. She's fishing one
Hey,
in
Julia.
Tennessee.
There's
Hey,
Julia.
Julia. So
We were
that's
just talking
awesome.
about you, girl.
That's awesome. See, that's what this whole show and this whole thing is about, is bringing women together and fishing. And, you know, well, we're gonna get Ashley on the LBAA at some point. At some point, she will be there. And you know what? I had to pay. This is the earliest that I've paid for the LBAA and deposits it, any year. You know why? Because I recruited too many people off of TikTok. And
Really?
I'm like, gosh, they're going to kick me off of the tour if I don't pay.
I doubt it.
Because I'm fishing as a co.
You are. I had a chance to check it. Oh, okay. So I was sending everybody out the link to the show.
Make sure that everyone's following the official page for here, because all the other ones are going to get nixed.
Okay.
Not next week, but the week after. And so the very, very last thing is that I wanted to ask you. Actually, Ashley fits right into this. Um, how do you think we get more women into fishing? From right here, knowing everything that we know about where the industry is right now,
Well,
where
you
do we
already
go from
covered
here?
it because you said it's an insecurity. You already covered it. Women find something to be insecure about. They either think they're not good enough, or they don't want to be given any flack for being a woman, or out there fishing. I think if we all could get everybody on the same page as far as encouragement. Stephanie said hi. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Steph.
I didn't want to leave it. I think that it's gonna take a little, probably some more time, but I think there's a lot of women out there. There's a bunch. All these high school kids, a bunch of them are girls.
Mm-hmm.
College girls are out there fishing, and it's coming. I think they're coming. How to get them out there? I think they're out there. I think that a lot of what stops women is the kids. You have this activity. You have they work. They do that. And then a lot of women just take the weekend to be like, cut it off. Everything turns off. I have to
Right.
do this with my kids. But I think once they get past the point where the kids can either fend for themselves for the day or whatever, or they get empty nester, which I'm an empty nester. Half of us, I think, are empty nesters. But I think a lot of the women that would fish. It may be a financial thing too, because it's not cheap.
I think that's a huge part of it. It is not cheap. Like,
Especially the past 2 years, with people not knowing the outcome of what their job's going to be, or what their
mhm.
income. It may have been cut down to one or none in a lot of cases. And I think that we may be set back a year or two, but I think there's so many women out there that either would or is already fishing. Maybe they're just not in a tour yet, a tournament trail, or but there's tons of women, tons of I went to Lake Travis with Academy in Magellan, and they took me, and I met a girl named Fallon, and she's a only high school
I love that
girl,
name.
on her high school team, and she is a stick. Let me tell you, this girl has a bass cat. She drove us around. She's good.
Nice.
I'm following her on Facebook, all her social medias, and she's good. And I think a lot of the girls, I think a lot of it is the financial. I think a lot of it is the confidence to get out there. Maybe they're not encouraged. So David's saying he has a lot of women that buy his lures and stuff for him. So it's picking up. I swear it's picking up. I see more and more and more every time I go to the lake.
And I definitely agree. I think that more and more are getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, statistically, I think this will be the fourth or fifth year that women would, if it's going to be the women again, this will be the fourth or fifth year that women will be the biggest growing demographic in fishing. But
Sure.
it's keeping them there. It's the they're getting into it, not staying in it. But the things that you said, as far as like kids and jobs, and like you were talking about Fallon, she could be a prime example about what about after college. What's she going to do then? Because,
No holds barred, right?
well, I
No holds
mean,
barred. If the girl does what she wants to do and she keeps fishing,
if
I
that's
see
what
this. I see this girl going. I'm telling you, I see this girl because she's eat up with it. You have
right.
that person that's eat up with it. I could see her in MLF. I could see her in The big
But
one.
but sometimes what we see is that and I actually did it. I did a video called Dear David Dudley, and it was a video.
Oh, we all got into that.
I did a
Got
video
into that.
response to it, and
Right.
he found me at my local boat show and came up to he came up to me. I've never met him in my life. Never. Never. He's never like interacted with me except for in this video. Nothing. I had my back to him and talking to my mom at the local boat show, and he came up to me and he goes, and he was like, "So about your video, right there, like we just picked up where
He
we
never
left,
would answer you though.
where we left off on the video, right there." But so I did that video called Dear David Dudley, and I like lined it up because it presented to me like he was being a little bit condescending, maybe a little bit more than a little, and passive aggressive, because I don't think I've ever heard a woman say, I don't think I can fish professionally because I don't have as much muscle memory as the men.
I remember that so clear.
That's a quote. He was like,
women have the muscle memory to be a pro.
Yeah,
I think is what
we
he
have.
said.
I mean, is it because we have more muscle memory? We can cast further, and that's when I was like, because at first I was giving him the benefit of the doubt that and then when he started saying stuff like that, I'm like, okay.
I know. I saw his video, and so when you jumped on there and commented, I was like, "Girl, he's trying to pick something." I'm like, "Y'all check this out." That's how we started talking, me and you, over that.
Was it
Dudley dude? Yes.
Oh, so we are a lot alike.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
I was
so.
like, he did not just say that on a video.
Yeah, and
following.
I couldn't help it because I knew that my attitude wouldn't come across in my typing.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Because I got that same attitude.
Yeah, because I'm just
don't dare me, because I'll do it even more.
Well, you should have been at the boat show.
I wish I would have been now.
Because I'm like,
how did it end up? How did the conversation?
Well, I'm like, are you serious right now? And he just like kept on, and I just kind of stood there, and I entertained it for a little bit, and then I just kind of repeated what I said in the video. And finally I was just like, and I'm like, "Do you have kids, David?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where are your kids?" And he stopped. And then a guy walks by him because he knew he couldn't get out of that because his kids were home with their mom while he was out doing what he does. And then there was a guy that walked by who had a lot of tattoos. And David goes, "Hey man, I really like your ink." Wait a minute. Leaves me, and I'm standing there. And I'm like, man, he ain't ever coming back because he can't say nothing.
He got put on the hot seat.
He proved my point. And that's the thing, is that women, once they, pick their career, come out of college, sure, they can have all the family support that they want. But I remember a thing that I saw from KVD, and he said, "I'm on the water 300 plus days out of the year." Well, if a woman wants to have a family, 90% of the time, she doesn't want anybody else raising her family. So it's not about like, my passion is fishing, my love is fishing. So if she wants that as her career, go like chase it. That's great for you. But fishing is a love and a passion for all of us, but not all women are willing to sacrifice having kids and a family
Yeah, no, of course
to,
not.
because those are two huge things. So what happens a lot of times is, like you said, they'll have the family, they'll raise the family, and then when they get up and go to college or do whatever they are going to do, then they get back into fishing.
I
But
didn't even go to school. I didn't even go to college until my last kid. I had 4 kids. My last kid was in high school. So
see,
because I had 4 kids, you can't go to school and have 4 crazy kids at home and
right.
single mom, single mom.
A-
So
And that happens so much. Now, how's that going to work? And even if you have the most supportive husband in the world, I mean, even if I can't even imagine the mother-in-law being like, you're at home with a 2-week-old baby and your wife is off in Louisiana fishing.
yeah,
Like,
no.
the mother-in-law would probably, like,
Lose it.
come and find you. Even if your husband was supportive, the mother-in-law would be like,
Judgment. I don't care if you're Mother Teresa, you raise your family, you do everything you're supposed to do. Somebody's going to judge you. Somebody's always going to hate on you for whatever it is you have,
Mhm.
what you do, how you think, what you say, da da da.
Right,
It doesn't matter. You're never going to make anybody happy. So that's why I don't care.
right.
You know, I don't have an issue with you not liking that I'm in a boat and I'm competing against you because you're a man and I'm a woman. I don't care.
Right.
You don't pay my bills, you don't feed my kids, you damn sure don't pay my boat note. So no.
Right. You serve me no purpose.
Exactly. My husband is 1,200% freaking supportive. He allows me to go do what I love to do. And I'm telling you, if you don't have that, if you don't have 100% behind you, but you're always going to have somebody that doesn't agree with what you do, like I
Mhm.
said, or say, or it doesn't matter. You're
Right.
not raising your kids, you're letting your husband, who cares?
Right.
That's the problem with today is everybody's in everybody else's business,
Well, that's definitely true,
right?
but like,
So,
and most women, like, they don't want anybody else raising their kids. That's their,
well, and
usually,
I understand that
and
100%. I'm just saying
but that's
if
what's happened with that gap, though.
right. So
You
if
know,
she did choose to go fishing and the man chose to work and the
right?
kids were being raised by the husband and
Sure.
maybe a babysitter, somebody's always going to have that
Oh,
judgment against her, which is going to make her insecure. There goes your insecurities.
right,
So, they're judging me because I'm not home with my kids. They're judging me because I'm not at work. They're judging me because my husband's working and paying all the bills.
right.
It doesn't matter.
One way or
The-
the other.
Yep. You
I.
like I said, you could do whatever you want to do when you want to do it, and
Mhm.
you're not bothering nobody, but somebody,
It's gonna
whether
have
they know
issue.
you or not, there's going to be a David Dudley out there going, "You're not supposed to be doing that, ma'am." You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'll tag this David Dudley.
Oh, you David.
He hates me.
Is he the female Karen? Can we call him the David?
Oh, we totally could start that in the fishing industry.
When David made that video, there wasn't Karens. I think he started it.
That's true.
I hate that little thing though. That Karen thing is stupid.
I know, I
But
do
I,
too.
I'm just saying, because all the poor Karens that are normal women out there are just
Well,
getting beat
and
up
now
on.
you
But
get called a Karen for anything, and that
oh, for sure.
that kind of nope,
And
nothing
and
gets
there
under my
again,
skin.
right? And there again, you always have somebody saying something, right? So
Right.
it doesn't matter what you say.
Ashley says they call the guys Kyle. I didn't even
Yeah,
know
we
that.
have Chad. We have Chad.
I didn't even know that. Interesting.
Sorry, David
Oh.
DePaulo.
Oops. But
Blue
you know
line's
what
over there
though?
going, "Hey."
The one thing that I do you know, that and I said this in the video too, is that one of the reasons that I love the LBAA is because it doesn't have 8 tournaments, 10 tournaments a year, that the women can still fish professionally without having to fish so many tournaments a year. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Hmm.
And a lot of times, like, it's family oriented. A lot of people bring their kids or grandkids or, whatever. It's just a different type of environment, and that's one of the things that I love about it, is it's professional, but it's just not that. Oh my gosh, I saw David's name up there and I swear I got nervous for a minute. I was about to invite him on. I don't back
Oh,
down
that would
from
have been a
anything.
great debate,
Yeah,
right?
I don't back down
Bring it
from
on.
anything. I was about to bring him on. I don't back down. But that's one of the reasons that I love it. I'm glad that LBAA doesn't have, 8, 9, 10 tournaments. I
I don't
wouldn't
think they
fish it.
travel that much.
Yeah.
Travel
No
that much.
way. And I don't even have kids, but um
Right.
where is the Dudley video and the Barbara response? Um
It's David Dudley on YouTube, Stephen.
yeah, you have to go to my personal.
Oh gosh,
David's
what
like,
was
"Oh,
that last year?
David says, "Oh, snap." The my David Dudley response is on my personal YouTube page.
Oh right, that's right, that's right.
Um, let me see here.
Wouldn't that be cool though if he got on here?
He don't want none of this.
No, I know he don't want none of this either. Trust me.
He don't want none of this.
Julia would get on. I think Julia saw that too. Julia, did you see that video, that David Dudley video? I think she did.
Oh, oops.
I was like, what is that?
It's oh crap. Can you hear
Is that
that?
the cartoon? Yeah, is that the cartoon? Dudley Do Right?
No, it's the new Who Day song.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
The Who Day think they gonna beat them Bengals.
Oh, oh, she did see it. Okay, so Julia saw it too, so she knows Mackey
Oh,
was
she
talking.
did.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, we threw it all over LBAA. I think. Pretty sure
My
we did.
video
Yeah, I
or
shared it with a bunch of
David's?
people. No, I shared it with your video with a bunch of people.
I'll pin it up. Let me see.
Look at this dude. Boy, we went into attack mode.
Yeah, it's on. I'll have to see if I can find his.
Because I was like, what? did you see what this guy said, y'all?
Here's the link to it.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
found it?
goodness. My hair is short.
Mine's raggedy. Look, my chin is, we were wind burnt. My chin is just, the wind was cutting it.
Okay, there's the link.
Oh, she
Oh.
said, oh, yeah, I'd like to have him for a fire pit chat. Julia.
Okay, I put up the chat there. So, did it come up on your end?
Yes, I see it. I see it. Y'all go
Okay.
look at that video.
Okay, there it is,
Delicious.
Stephen. Oh, well, yeah, we totally like went off. I'm probably
Yeah, we did.
I'm gonna have lots of
That went south
responses
quick,
to
didn't it?
this. Yeah, it
It'll be all
did.
right. It doesn't matter because it does, whatever we say, somebody ain't gonna like it. So we already
I
know.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, what I said, I mean, I believe in, but it's all in good fun.
For sure.
And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and the ultimate goal is to bring people together and to break down barriers for women. And that is everything that I say in the video is 100% true from talking to real women in the industry. So David Dudley's opinion of women in the industry is not really valid in my eyes.
No, no,
You
no, no.
know, and the whole purpose is, you know, for us to help and encourage, you know, each other to get more women and to keep them in the industry no matter how we do it. And I can say that being at the ponds for the last year, I have seen more women with no man at the ponds with their kids. And to me, that says that as time goes along, there's going to be more of women taking kids fishing and more women that are playing that role. Because I know you said that, you know, it was your uncle, right? That had originally kind of introduced you, and then your husband that got you into it.
No,
Oh,
no,
I thought,
no. Well, the original story was kind of like off-putting, but I was married young, and to get away from my ex-husband, I would
oh,
go
okay.
fishing.
See,
Yeah,
I did. Okay, I must have you mixed up then, because that's what I thought. But it was a male influence. And for me, it's
yeah, it was to get away from the male influence.
and for me, it was my dad. And for a lot
Yeah,
of
I didn't get
women,
that.
yeah, for me, for a lot of women, it is a male influence, you know. And for you, it was your second, your second one, which was okay. Your third for for your influence. But I think as time goes along, we're going to hear more stories of my mom taught me, my aunt taught me, my grandmother taught
Mhm.
me. And the more that we hear that, the more sustainability I think we're going to have of women in the industry. And it's starting and it's growing, and anything that we can do to keep it going, and it's coming from all directions, like you even said that earlier, like we're doing it,
Yeah, it's
we're doing it.
happening. I think as long as, the economy stays where women can um, either financially get away and pick up the pick up the hobby, or um, they have their support from their husband, their family, whatever, and they don't. I think as long as people cheer them on instead of bashing them about it, I think there would be 30,000 more of us, out there.
And
Millions more of us out there.
well, and I saw Julia's comment a little earlier. She said, um, any woman is welcome to come out fishing with me on my boat. And
You better
I
hang on too, because she's a boater.
so they have to sign a disclaimer.
I will not see you if you take me
Right.
flying.
But I think that, you know, there's been a couple of women um, who have volunteered that, you know, who have said, hey, I'm in this area. If anybody wants to go out on some random day, um, like I have a girl that I had met on TikTok, and Stephanie offered to take her out. This is
Uh-huh.
not an offer for everybody to go out with Stephanie. It was
Right.
this specific person. Stephanie's going to get 10 messages.
I know she's gonna be hounded. Get
Right.
ready, Stephen.
Um, but I think if more of us start doing that and try to take women out apart from it being a tournament, you know, even if it's like, hey, I'll meet you at the pond. I'll teach you how to tie a knot.
Mhm.
I'll teach you how to, line a pole, and, when to throw a crankbait, and, different things like that, instead of just throwing them into tournaments and stuff like that. I I think that's going to be a huge thing.
I I think what's cool too is a lot of the men are encouraging their wives, they have the couples tournaments and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times that's where a lot of the women come from too, is they go out maybe casually on the weekend, they want to go fish or whatever, and then they end up doing tournaments and then they end up going, "Oh, this is something I really want to do."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just takes 1 ounce of encouragement for a woman to go, for them to say, "Go for it."
Right.
Why not? Get you a rod, get you some bait,
Mm-hmm.
and go for it.
Right. I
But
totally agree. I
yeah,
think
I think
it's
I think a lot of the men, I'm sure, is where, like you said, is the main influence. But now I think you're right. I mean, it's going to be the aunts, the sisters, the moms, the whatevers, the
right.
grandmas in my case, because I have high school kids, grandkids. So um, I mean, it's the women just have to have they have to know that they have somebody backing them up. They have somebody that cheers them on, and you have all the confidence in the world when you got somebody saying, "Yeah, go for it."
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
instead
that
of you
support
can't
is
do
huge.
that, then there goes that confidence.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
And
I mean, it's all in.
I think we're definitely on our way.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I think, well, next week I have scheduled, tentatively scheduled, um, a woman. Her name is Janine Blair. She's all over social media.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I follow her.
Yeah, she's gonna be on next week, and her story is amazing. She's not a tournament angler, but her impact on women in fishing is phenomenal, and she does the getting women out initially, like a lot of times they've never fished before, so she does that, like, hey, I want to help you, get into this new sisterhood and start fishing. And so she's kind of like a first contact, and I'm really excited to have her on as, kind of that initial point of contact and have people hear her story, because I definitely see the fishing industry for women is like a sisterhood. I really do. It is like
Yeah.
a whole different kind of world that we're in.
Well, just as much as men have to, give the encouragement, other women have to give them encouragement too. So, you know, um, you're talking about a sisterhood, but everybody has to be in that sisterhood. You can't have um, women trying to back each other up, but then you got a few of them over here going, "Meh, meh," you know what I'm saying? It has to be everybody.
Mhm.
You can't branch off and have these people here and these people here. Even though we're competition, we should still back each other up. It doesn't matter if you win every damn tournament you get in, and then you have every trophy that anybody's ever made. I'm gonna cheer you on
Mhm.
because I think that's great,
Right. And
right?
I think that the people or the women that that do those kind of behaviors, like that are like that, I think that they they isolate themselves, because I think that
Mhm.
the bigger group is bigger and able to, they're more overwhelming and positive than that isolative group, and they usually tend to kind of fade out, which is a good thing. you
Right.
know
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, not always. It doesn't mean that they don't have their impact, but the hope is that that tends to, like, to decrease, because it so doesn't have to be that way. Like you said, I mean, like, yeah, we all want to win, of course. Hello,
Of course, yeah.
we're competitive. We want the money, but you don't want to tear other people down to raise yourself
Mm-mm.
up.
Exactly.
It's just not a good look, first of all. You
First, well, and
don't
second of all, it's tacky.
right. You
Be
don't want to
tacky.
live your life that way, and or maybe find a therapist to find different ways to to cope and live your life
Right.
instead of that way, because it's just not
Right.
healthy. Um
Julia, read what Julia said.
doesn't matter your level, you should always remain humble and never forget where you started. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's perfect. you know and there's humble winning and there's humble losing. Like
Hmm.
i I don't like bad winners and I don't like bad losers.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know which is worse, honestly. I
No,
don't know
it's
which.
either way, it's your personality trait that
Mhm.
attracts people to you. You either attract them or, you bounce them off and they're like, gotta go.
Right. See ya.
But I'm like an abrasive person. Like if I hear somebody saying something and I don't like it, which I have, and I didn't like it, I didn't know originally where it came from, and then I found out where it came from, and I was kicking myself in the head because I try to be nice to everybody. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
No,
And then
I
I
do.
found, and then when you find out somebody said something so horrible to another angler or about another angler, it turns me off. It just shuts me down. It turns me off, and I want to go the other way.
Mhm.
So, so if the women would hide your crazy, keep it in your pocket, please. And if you feel that way, take it home and say it. Call your husband on your way home and say it. Call your girlfriend. Call whoever after you leave the facility and say it.
And
Don't say it where everybody and their brother can hear you, because then you're
mhm.
bad. You're in my eyes. I don't want to be around
Associated.
you. I don't want to be in your zone. I don't talk. I don't say you're this, that, or the other. I'll take it home or get in my truck and say, God, the person is this, that, or the other,
Mhm.
you know. But to say something and bash somebody, and it was something that wasn't even their fault, and it was so sad to hear somebody say something like that. It makes me sick, and it turns me off to want to be in that group of people that say that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it happens. It happens in the men's world. It happens in the women's world. And I just think, man, pat each other on the back. Jeez, man,
Right.
it's like Julia said, humble yourself, because
Right.
you're not out there winning them $10,000, $100,000 checks either.
And you know what? If you fish and you fish competitively, you are going to be humbled.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
99% of the time, you are going to
Oh,
be humbled.
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
so
I
prepare yourself
zeroed.
for that.
I zeroed on Toledo Bend. I wasn't confident about the lake because I don't like the lake because it only has boat lanes. And so I didn't know really where to fish because last year we were canceled. And so, but my co was like, no, come on, let's do this. Let's try that. Try this, and we did. And he ended up catching a big old hunking fish. And I didn't catch any, but that's okay. I
Right.
mean, I ate it. I loaded my boat up. But these guys are so cool. These guys are so
Mhm.
cool. And that's what we need. If,
Right.
if you're going to get on my boat and you're going to be cool with me, I'm going to eat it up because you don't always get it,
Right.
right? So,
And I I see a comment here. It says Facebook user. So because you didn't put in your information, I'm not completely well, I have no idea who you are. But the question it says is tournaments take the fun out of it for me because I'm so competitive. Am I just feeling this because I haven't won one yet? Not bash, just random saltwater. And I mean, in my opinion, I would say that no, it's not just because you haven't won one yet, because I
Mm-mm.
am really, really, really competitive at everything I do. I don't care what it is. I'm really competitive and I never win. Like when I mean, I have won tournaments like at home on my home waters and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Um oh
But
duh.
you've
No,
won tournaments.
I did win an LBAA tournament. What am I talking
There you
about?
go.
I
Yeah.
I totally
So
forgot. I did win one on Kentucky Lake. But that was a long time ago.
it
Um,
doesn't matter. You
but
won one.
I think that uh, I it could just be that when it comes to fishing that you're just not a tournament angler for whatever reason. It doesn't, I think, have to do with the fact um that you
I
haven't won one yet. I don't know. What do you think, Tiffany?
no. I haven't won one yet. Not in MLF. I've only won one when I fished with the LBA, and I mean, your time will come,
Mhm.
and no matter how competitive you are, and I know it eats at me too because man, I should have done this or man, I should have done that. But just eat it, man. Learn from it. Remember what happened. Go to your next tournament and try harder. Try more baits. Try, research or what. I don't know. I do all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't always work. I'm just saying, learn from what happened and then try to figure out what you can do better, or even if you never win one,
I'm
even if you never win one, you still went out there and you did what you wanted to do and you did what you loved. And so that for me, I'm really hard on myself, but I always tell myself, well, what happened? Break it down. Figure out what it is that you think you could do better, or try a different bait. For God's sakes, I finally got off the Texas rig worm and started catching
right.
fish. Go figure. So, I mean, he said saltwater, right? Is that what he fished? I can't see
Mhm.
the comment, but I think I don't know a darn thing about saltwater
I
for
don't
real.
either.
I
And
really don't.
I don't know how their tournaments go either. Um,
I
the
don't, yeah, that either.
There's another Facebook user comment that came through, and I this has to be somebody that we know. Um, I have been on all sides, winner or loser. There's not such a thing as a loser when I am out there with the opportunity to fish. I feel some of my best wins were when I see some of the other upcoming anglers get their first wins. Nothing has been as good a win as the one you, Barbara, won when you could hardly walk. And uh, oh,
Somebody knows you.
yeah,
Weren't you in a wreck? Were you in a wreck?
no, that wasn't
Oh,
me.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
un- like there, the one angler was killed in a car accident right after the tournament I won. Um,
That was
yeah,
before me.
it was in 2015.
Oh, yeah, for
Um,
sure before me.
but no, I got really sick in 2015. That was my first, I guess, multiple sclerosis attack. I don't know. I don't think they still really know. Um, but I was in the hospital for 10 weeks and was paralyzed from the waist down, blah, 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 blah. It sucked.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just sucked. But like talking about sisterhood and everything, I'm so gonna try not to cry. but
Fun.
but my dad had called me up and he was like, so what are you doing, in blah blah weeks? My parents have my car keys because they were like, you can't drive. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna waddle down the stairs, but
Watch me.
yeah, so literally, like, I cannot go anywhere. So I'm like, duh, stupid, I'm not doing anything. And so Secret and Cheryl had gotten together money and had me a place to stay, had my entry fee paid for, and brought me to Kentucky Lake. And it was more about like, our sister's life sucks right now, and like she needs her sisters. Like, and I was clearly like in the worst place I have pretty much ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not care anything about the fishing. I mean, I did, but I really didn't think I was going to be back on the water very much, like at all. To me, my fishing was over. And so I went out with Secret one day and Cheryl one day, because I really was basically in a wheelchair and a walker. And yeah, it was just one of those things, like, nobody was going to beat me, that because it was my time. You know what I mean? Like I was talking
Yep.
about that other co-angler, I was meant to win that tournament. Like if the fish it could have jumped like literally out and just right into the live well. There was a reason I was to win that tournament, and it had nothing to do with money.
Right.
I needed that win psychologically.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
it comes to you when you need it the most, right?
right. I needed it
No
to
matter what it is.
I
Win
needed
a
it to
tournament.
speak to me in 15 to 20 different ways. And had that not happened, I don't know like where on my path fishing would have gone for me.
Right.
I very well could have just been like, I'm not
Because you
picking up
had
a rod.
because you had two women pat you on the back and say you can do it,
And you're
and that's
coming
what
to
you
be with
needed.
you're coming to be
Coming.
with your sisters.
You're fishing it.
Hmm They
Whether they're
had,
sisters or brothers or it doesn't matter. That's all you need. That's all you
hmm
needed was one or two people to say, Dad is calling you out. What are you doing?
hmm
Cheryl's like, come on. Secret's
yep.
like, come on. And
And
that's all it takes.
they were all so just because they all knew that I was in the hospital for 10 weeks, and most people are not in the hospital for that long. And like, they just all rallied around me, and
Hmm
you know, it was,
That's what you needed.
it was just amazing. So I don't know who that is, but whoever it was, thank you. I'm glad that you were, there and able to see it. It was definitely um, one of my favorite fishing moments because I needed it in a lot of ways.
hmm
Even though I totally forgot about it.
That's fine.
I'm like, no, I've never won one before. Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've only won one tournament fishing with Wendy Lou in the WBT. I
mhm.
got first place big bass, but it was once. I've never won an MLF, and I probably never will, but
No,
that's
don't say
okay.
that. You will.
I still want to go out there, and I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to learn, and and like I said, if people want to bash you or bring you down, and I, I'll be like, I don't care.
You have
You know what
more,
I'm saying?
but this is what I always say. There's more people that support you than that don't.
Hmm Absolutely.
When I first got onto Twitter, I had I had one girl that was just ruthless when it came to me. And we know what's going on when that happens when it comes to women.
They're
It's
jealous.
right. It's just a jealousy type thing. And I finally came on and I was just like, well, I guess I finally made it in social media because I have a hater. And until you have a true hater, you ain't made it on social media, which just made her even madder. Like, but it was funny to me. But
I've never had
I,
anybody do that. I've been lucky that, you
she,
know, people will say, I was real heavy into the catfishing for the longest time. And I even went to Kentucky, to Louisville, and they had their first catfish conference. And it was a bunch of catfishing people in the community. We all showed up. We just had a great time. And then once my husband took me bass fishing, oh my God. I never heard that's not a catfish. That's a ditch pickle. Oh my God. And I was like,
yeah,
but I get more adrenaline rush from bass than I ever did from that 30-pound catfish I caught in the creek after Harvey, the
yep.
Hurricane Harvey. And there's pictures all over Facebook with me holding this big old catfish. And still to this day, and I have a video on my YouTube channel, me catching that big old catfish.
I'll have
And
to
I
go
was
look at it.
I was with a woman angler that she moved now. So I'm kind of sad because she was cool. Um, but she moved to Arkansas. But I was with her. We filmed a video, and her name is Polebender on YouTube, and she's awesome. Man, talk about your biggest cheerleader as another woman angler.
Hmm.
She was there, but boy, I got razzed. The catfish
Really?
community was like, you know.
That's
So,
crazy.
but I mean, they're still my people.
Yeah.
They know I
And
love
it's
them.
it's probably all in good fun,
Yeah,
but I just, whenever she was doing all that stuff, I'm just like, seriously, I have a lot more people that are supporting me on social
for sure.
media than aren't. So she's spending way too much time thinking about me than not thinking about me. Like, she's really taking time out of her day to come up with all this stuff,
Yeah. Oh
so
wow, that's
yeah, so
crazy.
I mean, I just think about that when people start, and it's just it's really sad that people go out
See,
of their way to do that. But
the good thing about social media is they have this thing called block report.
right?
I just reported somebody that keeps saying some craziness up here, so I blocked them from the chat. I don't know what
Yeah,
they were,
the
something yum today or something,
yeah,
but
I see that too.
yeah, I blocked them. Oh,
Yeah, we need to
positive
get
mental.
moderators.
Yeah, you're always gonna
Yeah, I
have
don't
one
know.
ding
I
dong.
like Julia's quote, the "You never
Yep,
lose, you either win or learn." I like that.
yep. She's a good cheerleader to be around too because she's PMA means positive mental attitude. So she PMAs me all the time. She
I
even gave
love
me a
that.
bracelet that has PMA on it.
Angie
So,
gave me one that says that. It's a
the PMA,
I think it's a Gerald Swindle.
yes,
Yeah,
G-Man, of course, that's
G-Man.
her boo. That's her boo.
I love him. He's amazing.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
He's
But yeah,
definitely not a David Dudley.
no. Oh,
and
that's funny.
and I love Fred Rambanis. Boom boom. I met him at that same boat show.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, yes, you do. If you saw him, you would know who he is.
But
Fred
see, y'all,
Rambanis.
uh-uh.
Boom boom. Frogman. Oh my goodness. Just look him up and you're going to be like, "Oh, I know him."
Julia always says, well, don't you know, oh, do you watch blah blah? And I'm like, I don't even know who that is. She's like, shut up. I don't know who half the people are that fish professionally.
Y- Well, maybe you
I mean,
don't know him, but
no,
he
I don't.
is he is he's amazing. He is Do you want to talk about humble and sweet? He is he is a really good guy. So,
Yeah. Like
I
I
met
cannot. There's a guy. He fishes tournaments, but I don't think he's MLF or anything. I don't know what he fishes in tournaments, but I know I can always text him. He has a YouTube channel, Bass Geek. His name is Hank. And I can always text
okay.
him. It's like, hey, man, I have this, and this is the situation. What do you suggest? Well, he's in Tennessee, I think. I'm
Right.
pretty sure. Or he's close to the Virginia border. And he's like, man, I don't, he'll either give me some, but it's that the camaraderie. You can always reach out to this guy or this girl or somebody and give them a scenario, and they're like, oh, try this, try this, try this. You know what I'm saying? It's like it has to be that way. Good night, David. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Yeah, I need some jigs. I'll be ordering from you. I'm telling y'all, man, if y'all need jigs, that's your man right there.
I'll be checking them out. I have a guy from TikTok that sent me some, so I'm gonna check them out and see what I think and practice with them, and we'll see.
You'll love once you hook up. Oh man, you'll love it.
I probably will. I've just been hard-headed up until now, so
just do it. Just pull the trigger.
I will.
You'll never go back, because I swear, if Greg Boyk hadn't put me on that crankbait and told me where to go and how to do it, and this is and teaching me, I would have never learned to use a crankbait. I mean, I threw them, but I didn't really get into throwing them. I didn't have any confidence in it.
I'll send you a message with maybe something to try at your next tournament that I just started throwing that I highly recommend. And
Okay.
it might be the only thing that I throw at Ray Hubbard.
Now, see, well, my next one is Sam Rayburn, and I'm getting Sam. I got Sam in my head. I've done well twice. Not great, but I've done well.
You can at least.
I want to see what you got. I'll take anything at this point.
You can at least practice with it.
Yeah, I need to pick up my game. I need to.
Oh no, you're not competing against Stephanie, are you?
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I can't take sides.
Okay, well, don't take sides.
I can't take sides. I'm just kidding. I'll send it to you.
Send us root us both on. Tiffany, I think I'll be at Candy Wednesday. You should come. Yeah, Julia, I can't. I'll call you later. I'll text you.
All right. Dang, we went almost 2 hours.
I know, I see that. My husband, I can hear my husband in there fixing his own dang dinner.
That's what he's supposed to do. Sure. It was fun though. It was fun chatting.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for inviting me.
Some Rayburn Red. Yes. That burnt orange.
Who said that?
Ashley Higgins.
Oh, Ashley. You're my girl. I don't know you, but you're my girl, because that's exactly what I threw.
Yep.
She knows.
I fished Rayburn one time, and that's what I threw was a rattle trap and Rayburn Red. It's like a burnt orange. But that's not what I'm going to tell you to throw, though.
I was throwing the KVD 2.5 in red something. I forgot what it is. And then the clutch, the Guggen Squad clutch, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's expensive. It's kind of expensive. It's kind of mid-range. But if you want a good bridle trap, oh my god, that clutch. Ooh, that clutch is good. Try the Guggen. I like a lot of their stuff. The Bandito bug is real good.
Well, I'm writing this down. You said clutch?
Yeah, the clutch. It's KLUT or KLUTCH. I think it's with a K.
I'm not really a Guggen fan, but I will look it up.
I know, and I wasn't either, and I swore to God I'd never do it. But after I went to Lake Travis and caught that big old fish on Lake Travis with that white bandito bug, I was like, I got to try some more.
I mean, I do have some of their stuff. It's just not my go-to brand. But
well, it wasn't. But I'll tell you what, my only Cinco is Gary Yamamoto is the only one. that I'll use in Cinco's. He's my only.
You know
He's my
what?
only Cinco.
You've got to find me on TikTok and watch my Cinco video.
Okay.
You really do.
I like the. Well, Julia got me into this, the wacky worm, and I never wackied before. Never did.
Ashley says she loves the Guggen's clutch.
Does she? Yeah, I bet she does because it's good. She knows.
Where's
Ashley from? Because I can't see her comment.
It's on. It's coming up. She must be on YouTube, one of the YouTube channels.
Are you on? Are you looking at StreamYards?
Yeah. So
Chat? Okay, yeah, I can't see that.
But it comes through from all of them.
Oh yeah, I can't
Well,
see
it's
her.
supposed to.
Oh, because I didn't have it on comments. I had it on private chat. I see you, Ashley.
Oh, okay.
So is there banger square? I have a banger, but I haven't used it yet.
And you also, when you find me on TikTok, you got to watch my pinned video. That I think it'll be my first one on the left. Like I've got my actual jersey on, and I'm like standing in my driveway, and it's like I'm pretending like I'm talking to another girl in a boat. It was one of my favorite videos to do.
I know. I sit here and I watch videos and I watch so much fishing, and then I get kind of burned out, and then I start researching, the time of the year for what the lake is, what the lake's doing, blah blah blah. And sometimes I just go out there and wing it because I'm just burnt out on all this information overload, and then I don't usually do very well.
Sometimes that's the way to go. That's Andy Morgan's really, really good at just flying by the seat of his pants. He even said, he's like, I practice, but then come game day, I pretty much just go out and do whatever.
I always do really good during pre-fish. I always do really good during pre-fish, and then when I go for something happens with the weather, or if there's some kind of major storm, or something happens, it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter how much you pre-fish. If it's not going to be the same the next day, it doesn't matter.
Yep, it's true. All righty, lady. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up for tonight. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out, and I'll be sure to send you that message, and we'll see how it does for you.
Fill me in.
I
I'll
will.
send you some stuff.
All righty. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. If anybody has any questions, be sure to just send it to the show at womensworldofishing@gmail.com, and make sure, because there is changes coming up as far as streaming channels for the show, make sure to watch the video before this, letting you know about the changes. It was done a few days ago. So otherwise, we will see you next week, hopefully with Janine Blair. That's tentatively on the schedule. So we will see you
that'll
next
be fun
week.
to watch her.
Yep, I can't wait. So, and hopefully you will see me next week in this gear, celebrating the Super Bowl champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully I'll be just as excited this time next week. So
all right. Well, good luck on that.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.